How's it going, guys? This is the RJB0. Um, I'm posting this video because I was a dumbass earlier tonight and totally deleted my Gravekeeper deck on YouTube. So I'm recording this again. For those of you who saw the other one, this is the exact same deck. It's just a different video of it. This is, for those of you who didn't see it last time, this is my minimalist Gravekeeper deck. I won the Kamoricon tournament. Perfect victory, no losses with this deck. So I thought I'd show you guys it. First off, Gravekeeper's Descendant, 3 of the dude. One of the only cards in this deck you use 3 of. Most of them you only use 1 or 2. This guy's pretty much your cure to everything. If there's a card on the field you don't like, Descendant. If you need a beater, Descendant. It's just great. Next, 3 Spy. Again, you just need 3 of this card. It's too good. It's your main summoner. You use it in combo with Recruiter and Descendant, where if you have a Descendant in your hand, you use Spy to go for Recruiter. If you have a Recruiter in your hand, you use Spy to go for Descendant. You get all 3 of them on the field. And then you get your combos off of that. Only 2 Recruiter. You really only need 2. The biggest problem in this deck is when you draw into 2 Recruiters, 2 Commandants, or 2 Dualities, because it's really like drawing into 2 Tengus in this deck, where, you know, the Tengu is a decent draw, but you can't use it to its full potential anymore, and it takes away a better option. And during the tournament, I never found myself needing another Recruiter. I always had Recruiter when I needed it. Same with Commandant. Never had an issue with only running 2. And dead draw Commandants are the worst. Assailant, good card. Only need 1. You just have to know when to use it. Same with Guard. It's kind of your please don't kill me card. Basic combo or idea with Guard is you try to bluff them into thinking it's Spy and make them get ready to take down a Spy, and then they hit Guard and you just bounce a monster and whatever. Sanguine, it's like your 3rd Recruiter, except it's better because it can get you a Spy. That's pretty much it. Veiler, I run one of these just because at the tournament there were a ton of decks that used Trishula and monsters whose effects I didn't want to go off when they were summoned. So this guy's great. Gale, I don't really do a whole lot of synchroing in this deck, but Gale provides a solution to big monsters that I can't take down with a Descendant. And if I really need to, I can go for a Black Rose. My boss monsters are Gores. He's one of the reasons why you can run this deck without fear of your monsters getting destroyed, because if you get your entire field cleared, you've got Gores in the way. Tragodia, this card is basically a god card, and it's especially helpful in this deck because if your opponent runs through a monster of yours, you take damage, you've got a monster in your hand, you summon Tragodia, discard the monster, grab their level 4, level 3, or whatever, and then select the monster in your graveyard. You have 2 level 4s or 2 level 3s on the field, then one of which is your opponent's. You go for an Exceed, you get a monster, your opponent gets nothing. It's pretty great. Malefic Stardust, it's fast, it's big, it's sturdy, it protects your Necro Valley. That's pretty much it. It's a big, fast beater. Monster Reborn, Heavy, Dark Hole. Heavy and Monster Reborn are choices that a lot of people have issues with in a Gravekeeper deck. Heavy because you want to keep your back row out and your Necro Valley out, and Monster Reborn because you're never going to use it if you keep a Necro Valley on the field. With as much back row hate as there is right now, you want to keep that Reborn for backup. And Heavy is usually something you use before a big play, so your opponent just doesn't get in the way, and if you don't care about your Necro Valley getting destroyed, or you don't have a Necro Valley out yet, it's still really good. Of course, 3 Necro Valley. People hate this card. It's wonderful. People hate it, and they'll try to get rid of it in every way possible. So you run 3. To steal, you really only need 2. It's the other reason why you don't need to worry about losing monsters in this deck, is because you've got steal. It's one of your main card advantage things. Royal Tribute. Now, I only run 1 of these. I only main 1 of these. I have another in my side deck. But the reason being, this is a great card at the beginning of the game. But towards the middle and end of the game, this card becomes a dead draw because you usually have a lot more monsters in your hand than your opponent does, because of steal and because of duality and because of allure. You just don't want to use this card later in the game because you'll end up losing more than your opponent. That said, if you have the recovery power like a steal or 2 in your hand, this card can be devastating to decks of every sort. So I run 1 in the main deck and I side a second one. Moon, it's just an awesome card, stops combos like crazy. 2 duality, you only really need 2. Like I said, drawing into 2 duality is like drawing into 2 Tengus. It just takes away a better choice. And it's even worse when you duality into a duality, because it's just, it takes away a better option, and you don't need more than 2, because you'll still have card advantage with this deck. Allure, it's your other big draw power. It allows you to get rid of monsters you're not going to use in your hand, like when you've got a big field going, you can drop Gores out of your hand to draw 2, and things like that. Now, Mind Control. This card saved me more than any other card in this deck, because I'd have a crappy level 4 on the field, and my opponent would have some great field, and including another level 4. I'd Mind Control their monster, I'd go for an Exceed, and it would save my ass. I just definitely run 1 of these in a Gravekeeper deck. It's so good. You can't not use it. 1 Solemn. I don't use warnings, probably because I can't afford them, but also I just don't think I need them. 1 Solemn is enough, and it's just a good card. 2D Prison. I was thinking of running 3, but 2's good enough, because you have 2 Bottomless. That deals with big cards. Then you have a Mirror Force, because it's good. And then Starlight Road. I think that every single deck in this format should main Starlight Road, because there's so much mass destruction in this format that you need backup, and this card will always have a use, pretty much no matter what deck you're going against. Finally, Torrential. This card's just funny. You've got a Recruiter and a Sanguine out on the field. Your opponent goes for some big synchro, you Torrential. You get 2 searches, your opponent gets nothing. It's just hilarious. And it wins you games sometimes. For the extra deck, I'm just going to go through quickly. It's a pretty simple extra deck, not a whole lot of cards in it. Yeah, I'll just go through it. I'll start off with 2 Stardust. Just because I run Starlight Road and Malefic Star, I want to be able to use both of those in one game. Black Rose, because sometimes you just need to nuke the field and you've got the Gale to do it, and that's just good. Scrap Archfiend. Sometimes Black Rose just isn't big enough, and if Black Rose isn't big enough, you've got a 2700 level 7 beater in here. Leviathan Dragon. I have yet to actually use this guy ever since the ruling about Exceed material not being on the field. So it doesn't, Recruiter's effect doesn't work with this guy, but it's still an amazing card, especially with Mind Control. Sorry about that yawn. I have Veiler in here, so I'm running a level 5. So use Cataster. I want to replace this Iron Chain with either a Gaianite or a Brionic. I don't know which, but I just need one of the two. And finally, 2 Utopia. This is the card you usually Exceed Summon for in this deck. So there you go. That's the take 2 of my Gravekeeper deck. I hope this video is helpful to you guys. The RJB0 signing out.